Now, once we have completed our schematic and have performed ERC check on this schematic and also have assigned footprints, you can see here that all the footprints are assigned to each and every component. After this is done, the next step is to design PCB. So in order to design PCB, we need a PCB editor. So in order to launch the PCB editor of KiCad, there are two methods. The first one is on the top, you can click on open PCB in board editor. This will open the PCB editor of KiCad. This is the front look of PCB editor of KiCad. This is the first way to open this PCB editor. The second way is close this PCB editor, go to main interface, and on the PCB file double click it. Double clicking the PCB file will launch the PCB editor. So this is the front look of PCB editor. Here in order to import all the footprints that we have attached with the symbols in the schematic editor, on the top click over here update PCB with changes made to schematic. You can also click F8. Simply click on this. This will open a window where it says update PCB from schematic, and over here click on update PCB, and you see it states that changes apply to PCB, and click close. Now I have all the footprints in my hand. Now just click on anywhere in the PCB to place these all the footprints and the PCB editor. Now I have placed these components, the footprints, in the PCB editor. These are all the components that the footprints we have attached with the symbols. In order to just visualize in 3D view, just go to view, click 3D viewer. Now this is the look of all the components we have just attached. This is not the final PCB, but just for the sake of visualization how these components will look on the PCB. So the next thing is we need to place these J101 connector and J103 connector in such a way that they can fit on the breadboard. So we need the dimensions of the breadboard so that we can get an idea how far apart J101 and J103 should be in our PCB. So for that, let's refer to the breadboard. This is the breadboard. So my J101 should be inserted on these 4 pins and J103 on these 4 pins. So the breadboard datasheet, I have taken this picture from the breadboard datasheet, and it states that the outer pin of this side and the outer pin of the top side both are at a distance of 47.6 millimeter. So from this I get an idea that my both of these connectors J101 and J103 should be at a distance of 47.6 mm. In order to create a reference so that I can place my J101 and 103, the first thing I do it, I click on this edge cut layer, then click on this. The first thing I must tell you that these are all the layers. These and the appearance layer, these are all the layers. In the layers, click on edge cut and draw a line. On the draw line tool, click over here, and then you can draw your line or anywhere. Click over here, and I want to draw 47.6 mm line. 47. The other thing is you can also draw this line in another way. Just click over here and hit escape. Now select this line, right click over here and hit properties. In the properties it states that the start point is 169.89. In order to draw a straight line, the x should be of the same value, so I also enter over here 169.89, so that on the x coordinates the line should be the line should be straight. So here the start point has a y coordinate 40.12. I must add 47.62 in 40.12 to get a line of exact 47.6 mm. Now one must say that where is the 0 coordinate, or where is the x value 0 and y value 0. Over the bottom you can see that it is written x 155.39 and y is written at 194.25 mm. So the 0 coordinate, as I move cursor on my PCB editor sheet, you have to observe these x and y coordinates. So the PCB in this PCB editor, the 0 coordinates are over here on the top left. This is the 0 coordinate. The x and y coordinates I have just entered for this line are takes reference from this 0 coordinates. So by doing this, by keeping the x coordinate of the start and end point the same, I have drawn a straight vertical line, and the length is controlled by over the y axis, so I have added 47.6 in this y coordinate so that I can get an exact length of 47.6. So in order to check this, either it is exact 47.6 or not, click on this tool, add an aligned linear dimension. Click over here, click over here. When I takes it on the point on the starting of the line, it draws circles over here. So click over here and then click on the other hand and click over here. So you see that the distance between the length of the line is 47.62. In this way, I have just made a reference for me to place this J101. Okay, I have just double clicked it. Click on this and move over here, J101 over here, and J103 over here. In this way I can easily create a distance between J101 and 103 of the length of 47.62 as it is stated in the breadboard dimensions. So as you see, this length is from the outer pin of the breadboard on the both side, so my J101 connector should be placed over here on the outer pin over here. Similarly, J103 should be placed over here. Now my J101 and 103 are in a straight line at a distance of 47.6 mm. So this is the first step we have done. Now I have to move further in the design while designing the PCB. So what I do, that I go to its properties, J101 properties, and there is a option to lock the footprint. On the very left bottom you see locked. When I click over here, this means I cannot move and hit OK. Now I cannot move this component. This component J101 is locked. I cannot move it because it is locked. And this property helps if I while working with the PCB, while designing the PCB, I may accidentally move this component. So I want to fix this at a distance of 47.62. So I lock both of these footprint. They will remain here. I cannot even move until I unlock this. So I lock J103 and hit OK. Now both of the components are fixed in the PCB. I cannot accidentally mess them up, and they are at a distance of 47.62. So today we have learned how to open PCB editor, how to import footprints, and how to create a specific distance between the two components and placed headers at a distance of 47.62 mm, which is our breadboard requirement, so that when the PCB is final and printed, we can easily insert these headers in the breadboard.
So something came into my mind. Just I just took a notice of this, that the distance between the J101 and J103 is 47.62 mm. That we have just made this much length, 47.62 mm. While if you see on the breadboard, it says 47.6 mm. So there is a difference of 0.02 mm between the length of the breadboard and the actual PCB we have made. So this 0.02 mm will not affect our product that we are designing. It will easily be inserted into the breadboard pins. So don't worry about this 0.02 mm difference between both the lengths. It should be too much accurate on the for it should be 47.6, but for the sake of argument, it will work fine.